Today we're going to talk about the state of Iowa's latest corporate welfare fiasco, the fund of fund flopping. We're also going to talk about a weird dream I had last night, and we're also going to talk with Matt McIver of the Des Moines Social Club about the social club's latest happenings, including the Christmas Carol.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Ed Fallon here, folks. Gateway Market and Cafe is your locally owned source for specialty groceries. Enjoy chef-crafted, prepared foods, artisan baked goods, organic produce, specialty cheeses, and hand-selected wines and craft beer. Visit the lively cafe for breakfast, lunch, or dinner 7 days a week. Gateway Market is centrally located on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and Woodland Ave. Stop by or visit www.gatewaymarket.com for more details. That's Gateway Market, folks. Good food, great community.
Hello, Mid-American Energy.
I'm very concerned that you want to bill me an extra $5,000 to build a nuclear reactor. Do you know we're in the middle of a recession?
Oh, we were hoping you wouldn't hear about that until after the legislature had taken action.
Why not let your shareholders pick up the tab?
Oh, way too risky for our shareholders. We need you, our loyal customers, to pay for it.
Wait, let me see if I understand this. Mid-American wants to build a nuclear power plant in 10 or 20 years, and they want me to pay for it now?
That's right.
Well, I'll just take my business elsewhere.
Sorry, we're a monopoly. What we say goes.
I've heard nuclear power is more expensive than other sources.
Yes it is.
And I've heard there's no plan for how to dispose of nuclear waste.
We're looking at shooting it into the sun.
Well, I'm not going to sit back and let you make bad decisions with my money.
We're betting you will.
Stop Mid-American's power grab. Call your legislators today. 281-3371. 281-3371.
Paid for by Physicians for Social Responsibility.
Located in the heart of Beaverdale, Tally's offers speedy and affordable rooftop lunch, catering for events both large and small, innovative cuisine, as well as vegetarian and gluten-free menus. Come to Tally's for live music, dry-aged steaks, Sunday brunch, and all-you-can-eat ribs every Monday night. Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering at 2712 Beaver Avenue. Call 279-2067. That's 279-2067.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Save your studio. Fix your studio.
We've been saved already, man. Don't worry about that. Hey, I want to thank Brother Trucker for helping to kick us off today with Downtown, one of my favorite Brother Trucker tunes, and remind you that Andy Fleming with Brother Trucker is going to be one of the fine folks who are going to be participating in the comedy show that is going to help keep me out of the big house. Okay, this is a comedy show put on by Lee Camp. Lee Camp is a nationally known comedian, and he kind of came into his own about 4 years ago when he was a guest on Fox News and basically went unscripted and read them the riot act. It's an hilarious little skit. But Lee will be here doing his first ever Iowa comedy show on January 13th. Again, to help me with my legal defense costs, unfortunately, Boswell continues to push forward with his lawsuit against me, which I have learned is the first ever lawsuit by a congressman against a citizen of Iowa, a resident of Iowa. I guess I'm not really a citizen because Iowa's not a country, at least not yet. Maybe the secession movement will take off here. Anyway, it's the first time a congressman has ever sued somebody like me over slander. So quite an honor. I'm deeply honored. Anyway, Lee's coming to town. Comedy show. Andy Fleming will be playing. We've got some local talent as well. Scott Vermolm. Scott, I'm butchering Scott's name, but he's funny. So is Colin Ryan and Dan Umtham as well, helping with that show. So plenty of fun there on January 13th. It's a Sunday night, 7 p.m. at House of Bricks. So much going on, though, including the seasonally appropriate Christmas Carol. Matt, tell us a bit about the Christmas Carol and a bit about what's going on with the social club.
Oh, my gosh. Where do you want to start? Let's start with Christmas Carol. Repertory Theater of Iowa, which is a resident company of the Des Moines Social Club. Hey, I'm in front of the Capitol. Look at that.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful day. We might as well be sitting outside.
It's the magic of radio. It's the Repertory Theater of Iowa's annual holiday classic, A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, adapted by Larry Carpenter. This is the third year that RTI has done it. It is a classic version of the show. This year, it's out at the Grandview Viking Theater, the Viking Theater at Grandview University.
That's a great facility.
It's a great facility. There's not much signage, so give yourself a little extra time to go up East 14th Street and turn right at Morton to get into the compound. It's a once you're in the space, though, the show looks great in the space. The set is amazing. Jay Jagam has designed this. He totaled it up for us. This is the 16th year that Jay Jagam has had a production of A Christmas Carol running somewhere in the United States of America. He is an extraordinary scenic and lighting designer.
Where was he producing it? Or where was
he did 2 or 3 versions for the Alley Theater at Houston. He's done versions in I think New Mexico. And I'm going to get all the states wrong other than the Alley. Jay's had a national career. He was the youngest ever resident designer at the Alley in Houston, which is one of our most preeminent regional theaters. We're incredibly lucky to have him here in Des Moines. RT Iowa, Repertory Theater of Iowa, amazing company of actors. It's so much fun to direct those guys. Richard Maynard is Scrooge again.
Oh, appropriately so.
Oh, it's typecast. It's a horrible typecast. He really doesn't even have to do much. He just kind of goes on stage and tries to remember where I told him to stand. No, he's a wonderful actor, and he's doing a great job.
And he's been doing
it
for a while, too.
This is the third time he's done Scrooge, We've done it. We did it twice at the old social club at 1408 Locust. May it rest in peace. And may
it rest in Microsoft.
Yeah, exactly. And the fine folks at Flynn Wright have done an amazing job on that top floor of that building. It just simply won't fit into our temporary home at the Kirkwood. So they've had to move it to the Viking Theater at Grandview. As you say, a really cool, intimate space. The show looks amazing. The cast is possibly the best we've had for this, which is just wonderful. So we're really excited about the production.
Yeah. So what are the dates?
It opens on Friday. Which is going to be great, and it runs through, I think, the 23rd. You can check out rtiowa.org for all of the information, and tickets are available on Midwest Tix.
And evening performances?
Evening performances and Sunday matinees. Yep.
Good. Yeah.
And that's just one of the holiday things that we have going on.
Right. You've got a big New Year's Eve bash coming up.
That's
an
bash,
annual event that's been...
But even before that, we've got one more weekend of Max Wellman at the Social Club on 400 Walnut Street. Max Wellman, he's got a septet of just extraordinary players. Dave Rezick is his arranger and trumpet player. Dr. DeMonte Phillips, Grinnell professor.
I was very impressed with the orchestra. I was there on Friday for opening night.
It was. And tell the folks, Ed, is this a good show?
No, it's not a good show. It's a fantastic show.
It really is.
I know it really is.
Which show did you see? The 7 or the 9:30? I forget.
I'm an early guy. I went to the 7 one.
Now the 7 o'clock show is the holiday classic, like Max Wellman's done. But 9:30, we're doing something different. I call them the sort of the nice show at 7 and the naughty show at 9:30.
Right. Christopher the Conquered. enters the
Chris
scene, and
Ford,
it all goes downhill from there.
He's the Pied Piper of Christmas, and he is absolutely hilarious. The interplay between these two musicians. This is not something that Iowa has seen before.
Yeah, I should make a point of staying up late and going to see that one.
You absolutely should, and you should bring all of your friends. And
all of them? I have a lot.
Both of them. No,
both of them.
No, bring all of your friends. And I'll tell you what, Ed, we'll do it. I don't know if you do ticket giveaways or things like that, or folks call into the show for things like that. But if you like, we can do that with you.
For Max?
For Max Wellman.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not in control of tickets for the Repertory Theater.
Yeah, and better for me to do that on online too. That would be the best option. So
absolutely.
Sure, that'd be great.
So that's an amazing show, and we've got one more weekend of that. Friday and Saturday, 7 o'clock nice show, 9:30 naughty, and then 2 p.m. Sunday we got a final nice matinee.
So you're kind of weathering the many moves you've had to do here. I guess this is 2 moves.
2011 was a really challenging year for us because we had to leave our first home at 1408 Locust. We had to find a new location. We were fortunate enough to land at the Kirkwood. That's an exciting place. They're going through some renovations, putting in 2 new restaurants are going in there. Gramercy Tap is where the Kirkwood Lounge used to be, the old Azalea spot. That's Andrew Meek, who used to be at Sabraco. He's going to be there as the chef. He is there already. He's there today. I saw him. And then
that's all the verification we need, Matt.
Jay, who owns Wasabi Chi, out on Douglas.
Sure.
He's opening up a place called Wasabi Tao, where Quattro, the burrito place, used to be.
Okay.
So it's big things are afoot at the Kirkwood.
Yeah, and then you will soon be moving next year, to the fire station.
Yeah.
At 9th and Mulberry.
9th and Mulberry. That's we're probably in there end of 2013, beginning of 2014. We probably got another year before we're really in there for that.
And that'll be a nice
That's going to be
burden to have off your shoulders to have the move accomplished.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing facility. We've been doing design meetings on that. We're going to have a theater in there, classroom space, co-working space for arts nonprofits to have a place to share, possibly some space for other creative kind of corporations to have their place. We're going to have a restaurant on the first floor. There's 2 retail bays that we're talking to people about leasing out.
I think people don't realize how much space you've got at that fire station.
It's about 30,000 square feet. Yeah,
30,000 square feet.
It's going to be an amazing compound of joy. It's just
compound
of
joy. That almost sounds like an oxymoron.
Yeah, it's going to be
David Koresh's Waco compound of joy. That sort of thing.
He's not exactly a strong supporter of ours, I wouldn't think. No, not our kind of guy. But it's gonna be an amazing space. Yeah, we're really excited about that. Yeah. But before that, we've got the Bash.
That's right, the Bash and I've been to that several times.
That's an amazing time.
Yeah, it is a kind of a mayhem. It's wild. It's a great event.
Yeah, it's what we do well. It's going to be. This is going to be great. The Snacks are hosting. We've got an amazing lineup of entertainment, and we've got a swing theme. So there's going to be a giant swing that some folks are going to sing while they're swinging.
Now, who's going to sing while they're swinging?
I think Amber Deemstra actually is going to.
Not you.
Sing. No,
not Zach Mannheimer.
No, we'll put Zach on the swing, and we'll give Zach a microphone and have him sing at around 2:00 when we're trying to clear the building. That's when we let Zach sing. Usually, put on the Pearl Jam karaoke and just let him have at it.
Yeah. Well, Des Moines has certainly come along. I now call Des Moines the cultural and culinary crossroads of the continent, which it really has become.
That's a lot of C's.
Lots of C words. And actually, it's the same acronym as the Soviet Union used to have, I think. That's a coincidence, though.
Cultural crossroads of the continent.
But you've been a big part of Des Moines coming. We used to call it Des Moines.
Well,
wasn't that many years ago? It was Des Moines.
And actually, Brian Sanchez had the idea of doing a zombie-themed Halloween event called Des Moines. But I don't think it is anymore. I think that there's a lot of amazingly creative folks who are really focused on. That's one of the great stories about Max Wellman. He's a hometown boy who went away and tried a couple of other markets and came back and said, you know what, I'm gonna have a national career, but I'm gonna base it out of Des Moines.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the kind of thing that we need more of, and it's the kind of thing that has been happening. Yeah. It's the kind of thing that we at the Social Club are committed to making happen, is making sure that people, have the opportunities here in town to really create what they want to create and live their dreams right here in Iowa.
Yeah, maybe I can convince Lee Camp to move to Des Moines.
That'd be awesome. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, no, we have some great comedians here as well.
Yeah, that's a scene I've been learning more and more about. It's a really great group of folks who live here.
Yeah, so it really, and I do want to thank you and Zach and the Social Club. I think you have been an instrumental part of this whole move from a cultural wasteland to something that is so vibrant. So much going on. You cannot take it in. You cannot take in all of it.
Yeah, and thank you very much. That's certainly one of our goals, and that's what we came here to do, was to really be a catalyst for the amazing talent that's in this area.
I mean, wasn't the Social Club one of the first artistic presences that cropped up in that Western Gateway area?
Oh yeah, when we opened the Social Club in March 6th of 2009, there was a giant mud pit across the street from us where the sculpture park was going to go in.
Right.
Proof was open. Ritual was open.
That's right. Yeah. Ritual.
And that was it. Yeah. There was no Jimmy John's Host, Smokey D's. There was nothing else. There was no Americana. There was nothing else really over there between us and Ford and Garland.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, places that have been there a long time.
Yeah, they've been holding that down for 50 years or whatever.
Those folks have been there a long time.
Yeah.
In terms of the cultural.
Des Moines Radio Group was the only other sort of cultural thing, and you don't really go there. It's not really a destination location except on your airways.
Yeah.
So
anyway, my hat is off. See, folks, hat is off.
It is actually off.
To Matt MacGyver.
It's not just a metaphor.
Not just a metaphor anymore. Yeah, you've really done a fantastic
Well,
job.
hey, thanks so much. We appreciate the support.
So again, the Christmas Carol opening this Friday at
Christmas Carol opens
Grandview
this Friday.
College.
Yep,
Tickets available at MidwestTix.com.
you got it.
And then, of course, we've also got the Max Wellman continuing through this coming weekend.
Yep, at the Social Club, 400 Walnut. Tickets are also available on Midwest Tix.
Yeah, and send me the information, and we'll try to get a couple of them. We'll try to do a giveaway with a couple of them.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And then, of course, the New Year's Eve bash, always a heck of a time. And
Yes.
For folks who can't figure out that detail, it's on December 31st.
Yes. People always ask, so when's the bash?
When's the bash? When's the New Year's Eve bash?
Yeah.
Well, I have friends who have a fantastic New Year's Eve party on the 26th of December. They want to get it in early.
That's a Boxing Day party, really.
It's also my dad.
Well, I mean, when we moved to Des Moines, and all of a sudden people were like, well, let's go trick-or-treating on the 30th.
Yeah, well, I know. There is that
Why?
precedent. So anyway,
people
well,
do that, I have
again,
no idea.
good luck with your. I mean, a big move coming up next year.
Thank you.
But
Yeah,
I
it's
know
a
this-
lot going on.
I know the community rallied behind you when it came time to encourage the city council to sell the property to you.
The
they
outpouring of
did.
support was just terrific. It's
Yeah,
really
I mean,
good.
there's a little bit of arm twisting going on there, a little bit of citizen lobbying needed, but it happened, and it's
No, and
exciting to see.
you
it
line
move
up
forward.
support and just make it easier for them to say yes than no.
All right, Matt, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Ed.
Folks, plenty more to talk about. I do want to share Lee Camp's latest video with you to give you a taste of what you'll be experiencing on January 13th. This one kind of is Lee's take on television and the evils of advertising and how it leads to rampant consumerism. I always appreciate Lee's commentaries. We're also going to talk about the Fund of Funds. This is the latest corporate welfare fiasco that the state of Iowa has found its way into. Goes back to 10 years ago, but the evidence of failure is only beginning to come to light. We're also going to talk about Kyoto, climate change, and a crazy dream I had relevant to that subject. We'll be back in a few minutes on the Fallon Forum.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm a burrito.
I'm a fighting burrito, full of fresh ingredients prepared before your very eyes.
I don't have eyes.
I have over 28 options and 268 million combinations, including Riso for vegetarians.
I can take my meat off and call myself vegetarian.
Put that back on. The fighting burrito is locally owned.
I'm owned by some big corporation somewhere. Say, you want to go on a date?
No thanks. I'm seeing a quesadilla.
The Fighting Burrito online, fightingburrito.com. Join the fight.
It's time to think about upgrading the efficiency of your furnace and air conditioner. Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling has provided honest, competent service for over 20 years. Whether it's your home or business, for repair work or to install a more energy-efficient furnace or air conditioner, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422. That's 263-0422. For honest, competent heating and cooling service, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422.
Times are tough, and most people are just trying to make their cars last a little bit longer. That's why you should know about Sargent's Garage in Des Moines. You can trust Sargent's to make the right diagnosis and give you a fair price. Whether it's a routine oil change or a major repair, Sargent's always does outstanding work. So don't give up on that old car just yet. Call Sargent's Garage at 246-8149. That's 246-8149 for Sargent's Garage.
I love driving to Newton to see the races.
Me too, but I only have to drive across town.
You live in Newton?
Yep, Newton's got small town charm and it's close to Des Moines. I love the safe, friendly neighborhoods and family-owned businesses. And Newton's wind energy industry is really taking off.
How'd you find your home?
Dan Kelly with First Choice Realty. And Dan helped me find my office too.
Next time, instead of just speeding by, I'll stop in and check out Newton.
Why don't you check out Newton? Call Dan Kelly at 641-521-9260 or Dan Kelly at mchsi.com.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
That's Ode to Jones, folks. Ode to Jones by Babers Neighbors. Again, I want to thank Gateway Market for sponsoring the last segment of the program, the first segment of this program. Gateway is at 20th and Woodland, and again, you know about the great line of groceries they've got. A lot of it from local farms, local sources. Also got a wonderful cafe for breakfast, lunch, and supper, and a catering service that at this time of the year is should be of particular interest. There's a good chance you've got a holiday event coming up. Consider Gateway for large or small events to provide the catering you need. Again, they're 20th and Woodland in the Sherman Hill neighborhood. Give them a shout online at gatewaymarket.com. Anyway, folks, this segment of the show is sponsored by Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering. And I do want to share with you Lee Camp's latest video later in the program. But first, and we got some serious conversations to have about Iowa's embarrassing efforts in corporate welfare, and also, even more important, some angles on climate change, including a bizarre dream I had last night. But speaking of bizarre, you've seen these ads before, perhaps. They're full-page ads, and they always show cute little Amish people doing hard work. Sometimes you see them in like, it looks like a barn almost, where they're all diligently working on some element of this heater that they put together. Well, this one says the Amish are flooded with orders for the advanced hybrid thermic heat technology that incredibly heats for just pennies an hour. Okay, this exclusive photo is a clear depiction of how hard the Amish are willing to work when heat surge just can't keep up. Okay, this photo proves that the Amish are hard workers. Oh, come on, we know the Amish are hard workers, but a photo with a guy posing with a mailbag and others posed loading an Amish wagon pulled by horses with U.S. mailbags. That's just hype, okay? Okay, so hotlines have had to be set up in Des Moines so that we can get our heaters, okay? It also says that it's just exclusively available in certain Iowa zip codes. Okay, these Iowa zip codes have to start with 50, 51, or 52. Okay, folks, every zip code in Iowa starts with 50, 51, or 52. How dumb do we look? Okay? All right. So the hotlines have been set up in there, and there are coupons you can get. There are two different types of heater, I guess. One of them appears to be $672, but that comes with a $305 heater. A $305 coupon. So the other one is $1,300. That comes with a $670 coupon. Okay, so there are thousands of Des Moines area residents expected to call within 2 days. Okay, this came out on Friday, and now it's it's already Monday. So I'm kind of wondering whether these Amish folks meant 2 business days, in which case we're still in luck, or if they intended us to call over the weekend. So anyway, Maddie, with your help, we're going to dial this number. It's 866-964-4319, 866-964-4319. And here's the adventure of this kind of programming, folks. I have no idea what we're going to hear on this line. I have not called this number. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm just going to ask them some questions about this. And
for quality assurance and training purposes,
here we go.
This call may be recorded.
Okay.
1 moment, please.
Okay. Okay. Of course, we get some music here. Maddie is dancing in the producer's studio. I'm unimpressed. I was expecting something a little more homegrown than that.
All of our associates are currently assisting other customers.
Associates? What is this, Walmart?
To us, so please stay on the line, and one of our associates will assist you shortly.
Okay, Maddie, I'll tell you what. Let's put them on hold while I go back to the conversation, and if they come back and talk to you, then throw them this way, okay? All right, there's go. We're not going to listen to music right now. No, and we're not going to be lured into submission by somebody calling themselves a, quote, associate. But we do have a caller. I don't know what topic this is about. No, it's not. Okay, somebody listening. All right, folks, I want to talk about some other stuff, but if for some reason our Amish friends call, we do want to talk to them. And just for the record, I have tremendous respect for the Amish. This just looks like some kind of scam to me, as far as I can tell. Okay, we're going to talk later about this fund of funds, but I got to tell you, climate change. You know how strongly I feel about this. So strongly, apparently, that now I'm having bizarre dreams relevant to it. Okay, so again, the Kyoto Protocol. This is an effort that's been going on for 20 years, and it first started about 20 years ago. 200 countries getting together to try to come up with some approach to dealing with climate change. Well, just this past week, the nations participating agreed to extend the Kyoto Protocol, again, the treaty intending to limit greenhouse gas emissions by only some of the wealthiest countries. Again, China and India not included in that. But the emission restrictions only cover about 15% of all the total global emissions. So again, this is a 20 years in the making, this Kyoto Protocol. It's supposed to be accomplishing great things. It's still about, only 15% of the global emissions are covered by it. So many developing countries rejected the deal as insufficient, and with good reason. I mean, especially concerned with some of the island nations that have no altitude at all, and they're already seeing effects on the of rising sea levels. The article I'm reading here from the Associated Press indicates that the 2-decade-old UN climate talks have failed so far in their goal of reducing the carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas emissions. In fact, as you probably know, those emissions continue to increase even as global temperatures increase. Okay? And at some point, the U.S., they're right. We've got to bring China and India into this conversation as well. Now, what's supposed to happen is at some point that does kick in. And the new treaty, which is, again, supposed to be adopted, hopefully, they're saying by 2015. I'm thinking, have you no sense of urgency? But at least the new treaty is supposed to bring in the so-called poor countries, and China and India in particular, but other countries as well. Meanwhile, we have another Associated Press story here to look at. Now, this one indicating that nearly 2/3 of the world's population will live in cities by 2030. This is not an international study. This is a bit of research, a report done by Global Trends 2030. That's a think tank of sorts that was commissioned by the U.S. government's National Intelligence Council to look at likely scenarios over the next 20 years. Okay, this is looking at the development, the state of the world through the year 2030. In one scenario, the institution, whatever it's called, the Global Trends 2030, projects that most people will live in cities. 2/3 of the world's population will live in cities. Most people will be middle class. Again, I think this is very optimistic. Most people will be connected by technology. That's possible. And will be protected by advanced healthcare and linked by countries that work together. Okay? Some of this is not unthinkable. There is reason to have some hope. But the worst case scenario that this report puts out is called, it envisions rising population levels that lead to conflicts over water and food, mostly in the Mideast and Africa. Yeah, I don't even know if that's that's the true worst case scenario. I think, and I really wonder where this report is coming from. The very, very tail end of it, it says one of the bright spots for the U.S. is energy independence. Sounds good, except when you look at the quote from the report, with shale gas, in other words, think fracking, and think of the horrible aquatic and environmental damage that comes with fracking. With shale gas, the U.S. will have sufficient natural gas to meet domestic needs and generate potential global exports for decades to come. I mean, I can't tell you how frustrating it is to combine these two stories. The Kyoto Protocol basically going nowhere. 20 years and nothing to show for it. We have not reduced greenhouse gases. They continue to rise. You know, in this most recent effort, you know, Russia was the biggest opponent to moving forward. And we have this study here again, and I question the study source if they're really concerned about the future and they think that fracking is a great idea, something is wrong with this. But they say the report is intended to help policymakers plan for the best and worst possible futures to come. And yet, even with these advances that, you know, in technology and elsewhere, food and water and energy will be more scarce. There's absolutely no doubt that water will be scarce. There's no doubt that resources will be scarce. And it's very probable that food will be more scarce as well. Anyway, maybe, you know, and I didn't really read these stories till this morning. I'd clipped them out. I'd noticed them in the paper, but I wake up this morning with a vivid dream fresh in my mind. I'm in, it's unclear whether it's a city or whether it's all of Iowa, and I'm doing various things. I can't remember. You know how dreams are. You know, you don't quite know what you're doing. But I'm wandering around, and next thing I know, I'm in a car, an old car. Maybe a Buick, an old car. And driving the car is Leonard Boswell. Now, he's a little bit more portly, which is how he used to look until he had that cancerous growth removed a few years back. But he's a little older, and he's pissed. He's really mad. He's driving along, and he's just really mad at me for criticizing him. And Tom Latham is sitting in the back and advising Leonard just to drop it. Just get over it. Just be done with it. I'm a little nervous because I'm sitting there and the guy's driving kind of badly and he's really angry. Anyway, that almost seems to be in the greater context of the dream. That almost seems to be an aside, you know. So anyway, I probably should have woke up, but I didn't. I ended up stepping outside this enclosed area, and there's a big, tall, you know, chain link fence around it. And again, it wasn't clear whether this was around Des Moines or Iowa. Maybe all of Iowa inside of a chain link fence. Maybe Steve King would like that sort of thing, especially if you put a little razor wire on top of it. So anyway, I step outside and I see a big honking campaign bus, one of those big buses. It wasn't painted with the Barack Obama colors, but for some reason, somehow, I knew it was President Obama's bus. And the next thing I knew, people start coming out of it. And the first political operative to exit the bus wasn't somebody I recognized, but he recognized me and said, "Hello, Ed," and kept walking, and a gate in the fence opened up, and they went through the fence. And I'm standing there wearing not my usual quaint, cute, appropriate Irish cap. I'm wearing some kind of a big, you know, broad-rimmed hat, and I've got my walking stick, and I've got a sleeping bag I'm trying to stuff in a stuff sack, and it's hanging out of the stuff sack. I have no idea what that means. Anyway, I'm standing there, and President Obama walks by, and I say, "Mr. President, please do something about climate change." And he kind of looks at me and waves, and I say, "Really, you've got to take this issue. You've got to take this problem seriously." And when I say that second line, he comes over to me and says, "Well, yeah, it's an important issue, like so many other issues I'm trying to address." And I had the audacity in my dream to interrupt the president and say, No, it's not an issue. Don't think of climate change like an issue, like immigration or education or abortion or healthcare or anything else. It's not an issue. It's a crisis. It's a global crisis. It's a national crisis, and the planet is responding to our abuse, and the planet is preparing to purge us. It's purging itself of this infection that has become humanity. It was pretty strong. And I got his attention. He kind of stood and looked at me and said, well, I'll tell you what, you wait here. When I get done with my campaign event on the other side of that fence, I'll come back. And if you're still here, we'll talk more. And he seemed to be sincere about it. And I did stay there, but then woke up. So maybe tonight when I get back into Dreamland, I'll finish the dream and let you know how it turns out. But I made a few other points to the effect of, we can't just we can't sit back and do nothing. I mean, we've been doing nothing, and this has to be the kind of crisis that we address now and address powerfully. I mean, a report that says, yeah, things may be horrible in 10 years. Things may look really, really bad in 15, 20 years. And then still says, yeah, but there's hope because we're drilling more natural gas and we'll have plenty to burn and plenty to sell, plenty to export. That's not hopeful. That's not realistic. That's not understanding the scope of the problem and rising to the occasion to do something about it. And neither is the Kyoto Protocol. Again, the protocol itself, the original concept had some hope, but even it was modest. But what's coming out of it? I mean, 20 years in the works and nothing to show for it. Carbon emissions continuing to increase. I've always been an optimist, folks. I've always been hopeful. But something has to change, and now. I mean, if I'd said that 20 years ago, as Bill McKibben and some other prophets have said, this has to change, and now, 20 years ago, would have been the best time for us to change. And maybe if we'd had President Jimmy Carter for another term, one of the best presidents I can imagine, maybe we would have seen continued movement in the right direction instead of Ronald Reagan coming along and removing the solar panels from the White House. Maybe we would have seen a totally different scenario right now. Again, we have to do something to reduce our carbon footprint now, immediately. I'm going to do my part next week. I'm going to be traveling, over 3,000 miles, actually more like 5,000 miles. And I think about that and I get a little bit queasy. But 3,500 of that, roughly, doing the math in my head, so don't blame me if I'm off by a couple hundred miles, are going to be on Megabus. I'm going to be taking Megabus, which is one of the best ways to limit one's carbon footprint. I would do it on bicycle if I could, but can't. So interestingly, Megabus is not yet that national network that's totally interconnected. So you got to kind of book separate tickets sometimes. So I'm booking a ticket to Chicago, and then one to Atlanta, and then one to Florida, where my son lives. So and I'll be doing it in 5 days, which will be interesting. It'll be an interesting adventure, and I'll be reporting back to you. We'll have guest hosts doing the show next week, but I'll be calling back and letting you know how that goes. But I mean, I don't like airport travel either, but I understand that I could have my traveling done in a day if I flew. It would cost more, and it would also cost a lot more in terms of carbon footprints. So this is one small thing I can do, but I'm fully aware that we're not going to get to where we need to get unless we have significant policy changes, unless we have a systemic overhaul, not just in this country, but around the world. But the U.S. is still in the driver's seat on this. Increasingly, China is in the driver's seat, but we still have a chance to be the big elephant in the room that pushes this thing forward. And again, maybe that's what my dream was trying to tell me, was that, we need to push President Obama as hard as possible to do as much as possible immediately. I mean, I look at the conversations about the fiscal cliff, and I'm just in awe that they can ignore trying to fix the debt and deficit problems without tackling military spending. It's like, what don't you get? How come you can't see that a chunk of the budget as big as that is going to have to be on the table if you're going to get serious about debt and deficit reduction? Similarly, with as much clarity of evidence as we have regarding climate change, how can you not prioritize this? I know it took the bombing of Pearl Harbor and evidence of Hitler's horror, the horrors of Hitler's regime, to mobilize the U.S. to respond in World War II. But when we finally responded, we did it quickly. We did it with a sense of urgency, and everybody jumped in. It wasn't just the president. It wasn't just the leadership of this country. Every person, man, woman, and child. My dad told me stories about him as a child doing his part. We can do that again. But it's not going to happen if we just pretend that the Kyoto Protocol's continued foot dragging after 20 years is okay. If we pretend that somehow a report that says, hey, this is one rosy scenario we could expect, or there could be a bad one as well, and the report that then goes on to say, yeah, let's continue to, frack for natural gas. We need better than that. We need a lot better than that. So maybe we'll get it, but it's not going to happen unless you and me and everybody who understands the problem and is concerned about the future of this planet gets on their high horse and starts charging forward, doing everything you can to get the president and Congress and our state legislature and our governor to do everything they can in their power to move forward on climate change. Okay. I do not know what happened with our Amish friends. Speaking of energy sources, we may take another crack at that, or we may not. I'll talk with Maddie when we come back. I do want to talk about the Fund of Funds. This is not the same thing as the Values Fund, but it's equally embarrassing in terms of the extent of the flop that the state of Iowa has created here. So we'll be back in a few minutes. We'll talk about that. And again, if you want to call 244-0077, the number to call 244-0077. I want to thank Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering for also being a sponsor of this program. And I want to encourage folks to go out and support the businesses that make the alternative to right-wing radio possible. Tally's has a fantastic restaurant, folks, at right on the downtown heart of Beaverdale. And local chef and owner Robert Sanda does a great job at coming up with a very creative menu. Again, not just for lunch and dinner, but for Sunday brunch as well. And they, like Gateway, also have a catering service. So check out Tally's catering service as well. And stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 101 of WebcastOneLive.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going, man.
Hi, folks. It's Ed Fallon here. Proof Restaurant at 13th and Locust. You've probably been there for their award-winning, nationally recognized lunch specials. And here's where the chefs really get creative. Let me tell you, they're like artists, okay? I've been there, and it is one of the best meals I have had in Des Moines. I've heard that from other people. You got to check it out. Proof for supper. Do not assume you can get in. Make reservations. Contact Proof Restaurant online at proofrestaurant.com or 244-0655. That's 244-0655.
Ludwig van Beethoven here. I used to be so tired all the time, not from composing and playing, but from moving my piano. But now I feel so much better. I call S&P Piano, and they will bring my piano anywhere. They also sell and rent pianos, used ones, new ones. You get the idea.
Call S&P Piano right away at 208-6453. That's 208-6453.
S&P Piano.
Nestled in the heart of downtown, Ritual Cafe is one of Des Moines' most unique places, offering a wide variety of coffee and tea. Ritual Cafe also serves the only all-vegetarian menu in town. And Ritual Cafe is a cultural hub for artists and musicians, with a performance stage hosting local, national, and international talent. Make Ritual Cafe a part of your daily ritual. On 13th Street between Locust and Grand in downtown Des Moines. And check out ritualcafe.com.
Wow, some wedding.
Yeah, I've never seen a bride in coveralls.
Right, and skipping down the aisle to accordion music.
Not to mention the reception. That wedding cake was a freaking fruit cake.
It's your wedding. Don't leave anything to chance. Diana's Wedding Cakes. Using only the finest, freshest ingredients with free on-time delivery and setup. Choose one of Diana's custom designs or create your own. Call Diana's Wedding Cakes, 641-275-9279. That's 641-275-9279.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Joe Haynick with Pump Down singing Bicycle. What a group. All right, folks, thanks for sticking around here. We're going to talk about the fund of funds, but I want to, and we're going to give this Amish heater dude a call. But first, I want to remind you about the upcoming the comedy show on January 13th. Again, so much happening culturally and in Des Moines. And this is a particularly exciting event for me because Lee Camp, comedian, has never performed in Iowa, and he's agreed to come to Iowa to do this show to help me with my expenses toward the legal defense I have to mount against Congressman Boswell's lawsuit against me for slander, which is amazing to me that he would think he could pull that off. But we'll see what happens. The lawsuit is still alive, I guess. So we need to do this. But to give you a flavor of Lee Camp, again, in the comedy world, off-color language is just part of the artistic genre. But Lee is pretty tame in this one. And it's a really good commentary about materialism, the role of advertising in encouraging consumerism. Let's take a look at this clip here from Lee Camp.
Year lifespan, we watch 15 and a half years of television on average. 15 and a half years of having our brains liquefied and sodomized, zombified, and then glorifying products and nonsense. And that screws with us, because advertisements are they're Imagine if an advertisement were just a regular guy walking up to you on the street, just going, hey you, hey, if you wore these jeans, then the hot girls would really do you. I mean like hot girls, not that ugly broad you call a girlfriend. And by the way, could you mention to her that she needs to lose a little weight and do something about her hair? And she could do it too if she would just use these diet pills and this hair gel. And by the way, both of you guys should probably be smoking these cigarettes and drinking this beer. Then you'd be really cool. Although your teeth are looking a little yellow, but we can fix that if you would just use this tooth whitening. And then the hot girls would really do you. And by the way, are you happy with your penis size? If you are, that's cool. A lot of guys are happy with fun size. Is that what you call that, fun size? A lot of girls like that. I mean, I haven't met any, but I bet there are some. But if you change your mind, all you'd have to do is take a couple of these babies, and soon you would have to call up guys to help you carry your junk around like a train on a wedding dress. But how are you going to call your junk carriers with that crappy phone you got there? You should be using this phone with the swipey bullshit technology that makes other people feel like they're better than you just by owning this phone. And they are. They are better than you. Oh my God, all this stuff you need and don't have is making me anxious. Is it making you anxious? Is it? Are you anxious now? Are you? Well, then all you'd have to do is take a couple of these, and in 2 weeks' time, you would feel better than anything. Plus, bonus side effect, these pills also make your ass hair shiny and more manageable with extra bounce. Anyway, I gotta go, because your girlfriend just decided she looks pretty good in a vintage dress, and I gotta turn that around quick before she stops taking the Ambien Prozac cocktail I gave her, and then she'll stop shopping continuously in order to fill the void created by self-hatred, created by me. Would you hang out with that guy?
Okay. I think Lee is hilarious, and I think his social commentary is so spot on. Yeah, we're especially this time of the year. I mean, just Don't spend too much time shopping, please. And if you're going to do it, shop locally. Okay, so Maddie, let's take one more shot at Amish heater dude maker guy. Anyway, I think this may be a scam. I want to find out a little bit more about it. We're going to call the toll-free number they've given us to call. And Maddie, you cut in on me if and when we get any response at all. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about the Fund of Funds. It sounds so important, doesn't it? Well, the Fund of Funds was established back in 2002. I was in the legislature at the time. I remember this. It was originally supposed to be $100 million. Here's how it works. Here's how it works. Again, lawmakers created this complex, and it's always, complex. If they want to fool people, they make it complicated. And I can tell you plenty of other legislation that is intentionally, by design, complicated to fool people. We had a hog confinement bill that did that not too long ago. Okay, so this Iowa Fund of Funds back in 2002 created because the state historically, and by the way, this is how it's written in the Des Moines Register. This is supposed to be an objective article. The reporter, the economic development reporter at the Register, is about as friendly to the business perspective as you can get. She writes that the lawmakers created the complex Iowa Fund of Funds a decade ago because the state historically ranks low for attracting the venture capital investment needed to fuel the growth of promising young Iowa companies. I mean, all that there is more editorial language than genuine journalistic language, in my opinion. While access to venture capital is key to driving new jobs and economic growth, again, more editorial, state government has struggled to find and launch a successful model to help unleash the flow of private money. Again, unleash the flow of private money. That's very clearly. Hey, folks, okay, let's go to the phone. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, is this somebody with the Amish heater?
Yes, I'm getting a lot of static on your end, so it's hard for me to kind of hear you.
Okay, so you're in Des Moines?
Who's in Des Moines?
You.
No, I'm not in Des Moines.
Oh, the advertisement says hotlines had to be set up in Des Moines.
Right, that's where the actual shipping is coming from. I'm not in Des Moines.
Ah,
They're
okay.
talking about your area for the newspaper.
Okay.
What's your zip code?
Well, it starts with a 50, so I guess I qualify. So it's this article in the paper, this full page advertisement. I wanted to ask you, that shows the Amish people like with mail and bags. Is that real? Are they real? Are those really Amish people?
And what's your zip code? I have to pull up your article.
It's 50309.
50309, and you're in Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay, now in the paper, there is a coupon code right up under the barcode. I would need that information.
So, but this photograph, these are real Amish people?
I can't see the photograph unless I have that coupon
Ah, okay. So what do you need again? The coupon?
code listed up under the barcode in the paper.
Under the barcode. Above the barcode. Under.
Either one is by the barcode.
UE393. That one?
393, yes.
All right.
Now, as far as the photograph, I can't verify they're Amish people, but usually if they show people like that, they're usually Amish people that were photographed.
Okay. So, have you been getting a lot of calls?
Yes, we've been getting a lot of calls.
Okay, so this thing costs $1,000? Do I read that right? $1,300?
No, hold on. UE393, is that what your paper says?
Yeah, UE393.
Okay, because that's not coming up. Have your paper more than 48 hours?
Yeah, this is Friday, but
Okay.
I figured it was 2 business days. No?
Yeah, it's 2 business days, 48 hours from the date on the newspaper. So that was Saturday and Sunday.
Those aren't business days.
Right, no, it's just 48 hours from the date on the paper.
So why do they put it in the paper on Friday when most people may not even be paying attention to these sort of things on the weekend?
And I don't know, because that promotion actually is no longer available in your area.
Oh, so I'd have to pay the whole fee.
That is correct, because it's not showing me that promotion is available.
So these are actually made by Amish people?
The mantles itself that the heaters come from, but again, without that code, I won't be able to provide you with information because it provides me with information. We have several different promotions going on right now, and so it's very vital that them codes provide us with the information And unfortunately, since I don't have the ability to pull that information up,
All right.
I can't provide you.
But this isn't a scam.
No, this is not a scam. This is a real article and a real heat search.
All right. Well, I need to learn more about it. I'll check into it. But thank you.
Okay, I do. Thank you for calling.
All right.
Research. You have a wonderful day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm skeptical, Maddie. How about you? Well, you're laughing. You're laughing way too hard. Why? What happened?
I guess I feel like it's a little mean. She didn't know she was on
Well, I know.
air.
Yeah, mean, but I guess I could have told her that. But
She was a little frustrated, I think.
Well, but you know, it seems like the coupon idea. Okay, you put a full page ad in the paper on a Friday, and then you say you have two days to call and use this coupon. The coupon reduces the cost of the product by about 50%. But you know, most people aren't going to be able to do it that fast. Anyway, and then I guess I'd like to learn more about this. They make it sound so special. Hybrid thermic heat technology. I don't know. Anybody know about that?
I didn't think the Amish worked with technology.
Well, very basic technology. So it is a curiosity, and I think it warrants a little bit more investigation if I had more time. But I'm going to spend the rest of my time today talking about this fund of funds, because this is something we can do something about. What's happened is, the Register has always been just an apologist for this type of economic development, and now they, along with a bunch of legislators, are having to eat this, because they, this was something that the Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly supported. There were critics among us, including the former minority leader, Republican in the Senate, who wrote me yesterday and say, "Hey, did you see about that? Can we say I told you so?" Yeah. So again, this was designed. The whole Iowa Fund of Funds was designed to invest in venture capital funds. It was kind of a venture capital fund for venture capital funds. So it was supposed to, tap into funds from across the nation and get them to commit to having a presence in Iowa and to, operative word, consider investing in Iowa companies. That's pretty weak language. Here, we're gonna invest this kind of money and hope you consider investing in Iowa. It was backed by $100 million in contingent tax credits. Now the investors had losses. Okay. So let me say, if investors had losses, which they did, or didn't receive the required returns, they could tap the credits to cover the shortfall. What kind of a cushy deal is that? That is nothing more than a bailout. That is the state of Iowa saying, we're going to take taxpayer money and we're going to basically use it to cover your gambling losses. Let's call it what it is. Venture capital is gambling. And I remember when John Papajohn came and spoke to the Economic Development Committee that I served on, he basically said, you have to invest that money wisely. It's because it's a gamble. You don't have any assurance you're going to get your money back. So it's like how you play your cards. You take good risks. But here we aren't encouraging good risks in this case, because we're backing it up with taxpayer money. I can't understand why any lawmaker or any governor would think that made sense. So the credits were used by companies and individuals to pay part or all of their tax bills. Oh gosh, I would love that deal. Yeah, okay. I make a bad investment. Whatever, you pick it. Something small even. And I get the taxpayers to back me up to pay my tax bill because something went bad. Wow. Okay. So despite that taxpayer bailout backing it up, investors were reluctant to loan money to the fund. How bad does this thing have to be? It reminds me of Mid-American Energy's nuclear power plant. Again, an investment so bad the Mid-American would never think of funding the thing themselves. They've got to come to the ratepayers and say, hey, you ratepayers, all 630,000 of you, we're going to put you on the hook for this nuclear power plant because it obviously is way too risky for us. And again, Mid-American Energy, think Warren Buffett. I mean, everybody likes to point to Warren Buffett as the wonderful philanthropic rich guy, but he knows enough not to invest his money in a nuclear power plant. That's not where venture capital money is going to go because it's a bad investment. And so in this case, a great idea. take a risk with bad investments. We're going to back you up with tax credits from the state, from the taxpayers. And even with that backup, it was a bad idea. Okay, so there are apparently 2 banks in Oklahoma that sued the state of Iowa because Iowa defaulted on its loan to them, repaying them the money. And now there is a bailout to them of $25 million. There ought to be some heads rolling at the State House over this. Branstad was not in office when this happened. I have no doubt. I mean, he may deny this, but given his track record and given his most recent support to the tune of $251 million to one fertilizer plant and $70 million to the other, I'm almost certain Branstad would have supported this. Excuse me. All right, I get worked up and I get thirsty. Yeah. So the bottom line is this is a scandal that people ought to be paying attention to, along with all the other economic development scandals that are happening at the State House, in U.S. Congress. This is where Tea Party and Occupy people, where true fiscal conservatives and responsible Democratic and independent types, this is where we ought to be able to come together and say, we're not going to go there. We're not going to be bamboozled. We're not going to be flummoxed into believing this stuff any longer. All right, so that's my take on it, folks. Hopefully there'll be more conversation about it, and hopefully there'll be some accountability. I see Senator Joe Bolcom is working on this. He's from Iowa City. He said the state needs to rethink how it approaches economic development. You think? Quote from Bolcom, the idea that we can create these third-party arrangements where we turn over taxpayers' money and not expect problems to develop is folly. Exactly. If not, it's an understatement, but yes, precisely the case. Thanks, folks, for joining me, and thanks for sticking around for Bradshaw. Bradshaw will be with you at 1:30, and I'll be back tomorrow on the Fallon Forum.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
If we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to